What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We just finished our first preseason game of 2025. We ended up tying with the Bears 24-24. Played a little bit of backyard football there at the end with a little bit of pitch and catch. And honestly, it kind of got interesting for about 2 or 3 seconds of the 5-second play. But ended up not scoring, so is what it is. Ended the preseason game 24-24. Who really cares? We're going to get to the 5 things we learned this game, though. And first things first, the offensive line. Look, we only had 4 starters play, and it was only 1 drive. But it was a long drive, and it looked good. Now, imagine with Austin Jackson there instead of Larry Borum. That offensive line looked really good, really controlling through that first drive that they had together. They also looked really in sync. They didn't look like they were fighting each other with communication. It looked like they were just perfectly in sync. Jonah really looked really good. I'm not going to be able to pronounce his last name correctly, so I'm just going to call him Jonah. Patrick Paul, he had a little flub on the goal line, but besides that, he looked really good. Aaron Brewer picking right up where he left off. James Daniels looked really good. Larry Borum, he looked okay. So if we have to go into the season with him starting, I don't think we will. I think Austin Jackson's going to be back. I'm not super excited to have him there. However, it could be worse. It could be Liam Eichenberg at right tackle, which we all know is not his position of strength. So once again, I think this offensive line looked really good. Once again, only 1 series, taking it with a grain of salt, but it looked good. Last time we had a good offensive line was 2023, and we had a good offensive line for about 2/3 of that year before every single person on it got hurt, and then we blew our lead in the division and honestly lead as a whole because we were in first place in the AFC. All right, so on to our second point now. We kind of going on with that first drive a little bit. We need our bigger backs in the short yardage situations. When the field gets condensed, we just need guys that can punch it in. I know they didn't put Achane in there, so we didn't really get to see what he could do against that. And he did have a strong run up the middle, fighting through tackles and getting the extra yardage. But we played Jaylen Wright there, and for 3 straight plays, ran it with him, and 2 of them got stuffed at the goal line, and then the third, someone missed their blocking assignment, and he got blown up as soon as he got the football. So that was just a bust. But what I realized is with Jaylen Wright, now he had some really good runs earlier in that drive, but when he got to the goal line, he was being too patient. If you saw, he so in his long run that he had earlier, which was a really nice run, I think like literally 2 plays before we got to the goal line, he had like a little stutter step because the hole that was supposed to be there was closed. He cut back into another hole that was on the left side of the line that was not supposed to be there, but he found the hole, picked up 8 to 10 yards, and got the first down. And that was a really, really good run by him. But then you see the same thing happen on the goal line, and that can't happen on the goal line. You have to know when to flip that switch, and you know that you cannot be patient at the goal line. You just got to put your head down and keep your legs moving until you hear the whistle. That is what you do on the goal line, and that is what you should be doing as a bigger running back. And look, I know he's got some speed to him, but that is the reason that you are there to be the complement to Achane. Achane is the one that can go in open space. You're the one that's supposed to be bulldogging your way through there. But he's also our second lightest back. We have him and Achane are our 2 lightest backs. We need our bigger backs in there. Pun intended. We need our big backs. We need Madison and we need Ollie Gordon to be in on those plays, on the short yardage, 3rd and 1 or goal 1 to go on the goal line. Anything that's short yardage like that we know that we have to run the ball, and everybody knows, I know what you're going to do, you know what I'm going to do, but we're going to punch you in the face anyway. Those are the plays that we need our bigger running backs to be running the ball. Now, Achane gives us that little bit of versatility where they don't know if we're really going to run the ball with him or not, if we're going to fake it to him, or if he's going to go out for a pass instead, because he has that receiving ability. So he gives us that versatility. So with that, I actually expect us in the regular season to be running a lot of 2 running back sets inside the red zone with Achane and someone else, whether it be Jaylen Wright, Alexander Madison, and Ollie Gordon. So it's gonna be a juggle between those guys. On to the next one. Our defensive line is going to be bailing out our secondary this entire season, and it needs to stay healthy. Our secondary is looking really suspect. Look, we had our starters out there against Tyson Bagent and their wide receiver 3. I think Colson Loveland was out there for like a series, maybe 2. But besides that, they had no starters in on offense. And when our defensive line didn't get pressure, they just completed to wide open receivers against our starters. Their backups were beating our starters, and it just was not fair. Like it was, they just had such an advantage on us. Like Storm Duck did not look that good. He had a couple plays here and there. Jack Jones made some plays, but he's not technically a starter right now. Mike Hilton, I mean, we brought him over from the Bengals. What do you think is going to happen? He's a decent slot corner, but he's not gonna be a guy. Slot corners, it just is what it is, man. Like, our secondary's ass, and our defensive line. Now, look, we have a really good defensive line, right? So on the edge, we actually have 3 of our pass rushers starting. We didn't play Jalen Phillips this game, but we have Bradley Chubb, Chop Robinson, Jalen Phillips on the defensive line with Zach Sealer. Our linebackers are looking really good with Tyrell Dodson, Jordan Brooks, and then even going into the backups a little bit. Willie Gay looks really good. Endless Motor. And this McClendon dude, I know he was on our practice squad last year. He looks really good this game. For whatever reason, I'm like, this dude was playing in the second quarter, and I'm like, damn, okay. So our front 7 is going to be bailing us out because our secondary is just that awful. And we know it's going to be bad. We know we lost Jalen Ramsey. We lost Kader Kohu. We lost, I forgot his name already. The dude that we picked up from Seattle that tore his ACL on the first freaking warm-up of training camp. Yeah, so we're going to have guys step up. Jack Jones, I think, was a really good pickup. Obviously, we're going to need another corner because, look, I like Storm Duck, but he's not a starter. He's a backup for a reason. It's going to be an interesting thing. It's going to be an interesting battle because, honestly, all the guys that played from the first quarter to the fourth quarter could be starting at any point this season at corner for us, and that's a scary thing. So we need our defensive front to stay healthy and stay active throughout this entire season because they're going to be bailing out our secondary. And honestly, look out for starting the regular season. Look out for quick passes because of that, because they know that we're going to try to bring pressure to bail out our secondary. Minka, he only played 1 series, but he looked good. All right. On to the 4th thing that we learned. So we brought in Zach Wilson and we drafted Quinn Ewers because we knew that if Tua were to get injured again, that we needed to have a somewhat decent backup to be able to go and win us games. And honestly, bro, I'm sitting here. We don't have that. Zach Wilson, the dude stands flat on his feet and goes so slow through his progressions that he's not seeing what's there. And I know this is a really timing based offense, but and some of the timing's off because you have guys that that you're throwing to that aren't really going to be there when you're in with the starters, being Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Malik Washington really didn't play with him too much, but I know you're not going to have those guys. I know, but you gotta do better. You gotta do better than that, especially against backups on the Bears. You can't stay flat-footed. You have to be able to move around the pocket. Yeah, he did it decently well at escaping the pocket, but then that one throw, like, look, I know it's one throw. I'm not going to overreact to one throw, but you see that and you go, yeah, that's typical Zach Wilson. That's the guy that we've watched for the past, 4 or 5 years of his career. I'm not even sure if it's been 4 or 5 years. I probably has. I think, yeah, I think this is year 5. I think this is year 5. 5 or 6 for him. But yeah, and he's not developing into a consistent player, and that's what kind of separates the starters from the backups. Quinn Ewers, did he complete a pass on his first drive? No. He went 3 straight incompletions and then fumbled the ball and gave them an instant red zone in which they scored. So, and then he just didn't look good. He had one good throw to Ollie Gordon. Actually, 2 good throws because he had one the second to last play of the game. That was a pretty good throw that Ollie Gordon actually dropped. But he had like 2 good throws. The entire fourth quarter that he basically played the entire fourth quarter, and he just didn't do anything with it. Nothing at all. It was just bad. And then the last thing is Kenneth Grant. We have to be patient with. I looked at him and I saw he was kind of getting moved around a little bit in the run game. I wasn't too happy about that. He did chase down a running back, ended up throwing him right back on his feet, but it just is what it is. You can't really criticize him too much. He's a developmental guy. He's just what he's going to be. He's a developmental guy, and he has the things that you want. When he came off the field, he was sitting there taking notes on the sideline without his pads, like literally jotting down notes. He is invested. He's a football guy. He has an endless motor. I do think he needs to lose some weight, in my personal opinion. He's 330 pounds. He is pretty quick for 330 pounds. He is really good at just staying active. He's fast. He's physical. But I think he needs to put on a little bit more muscle. I think he needs to put the weight that's in his belly and put it into his legs and really drive these offensive linemen, because he wasn't going against starting offensive linemen. He was going up against backups. And I expect my top 15 pick to be moving people. Now look, once again, developmental guy. It is what it is. I'm going to be patient with him. I think we all need to be patient with him. It's just a series of things. All in all, it wasn't as bad as I anticipated. After the practice where we got our asses handed to him. Now, look, I know the Bears were being a little bit dirty. I know Tua had the 3 interceptions. It just is what it is. You came into the game expecting them to out physical us, and we really matched their physicality, which I liked. So that was a good thing in my personal opinion. But we need to do better. We need to progress on the next one. Obviously, Tyreek's dealing with the oblique injury. I don't know why Waddle didn't play. Hopefully, we'll get to see one or both of them next week. Austin Jackson's going to miss the entire preseason, so we're not going to really see this entire offensive line together up until the start of the season. Jonah did leave practice early Friday, but he played the entire first half for the Dolphins in the preseason game, so that was good to see. He has a really good connection. That left side of the line, I'm actually really excited for. James Daniels looks pretty good at right guard too. It's really just Austin Jackson. I'm worried if he can stay healthy or not. And I would not doubt that next year we use a higher draft pick on a right tackle because of his injury proneness to this point. Now look, everything's kind of just been like an unfortunate injury, but it is what it is. You kind of have to accept that Austin Jackson, he's not really going to play a full season. You have to take care of his body and just try to get as many games out of him as you can. Hope he's there for the postseason if we make it there. So, is what it is. All right, thank you guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the game. Put your comments down below. I'm also going to be dropping a video tomorrow of the position battles that went on and how that's going to really go down. Deuces.